Greetings, Terrarians. My name is Khaios. For the past few years, I've been lurking in the Terraria community, mostly posting my builds on forums like TCF and Reddit and on my Twitter feed. I'm also the world designer for the Super Terraria world mod, and actually the build that you could see on screen right now is an example of the work that I do for the mod. I just Oop, that was rude. I just recently released my first adventure map for Terraria. It's called Harbinger. And with the release of that map, I thought it might be fun to kickstart my YouTube channel. The goal is to have tutorial videos as my first series. And the tutorial videos will be things like puzzles and wiring mechanics that I used in Harbinger. That said, there will be spoilers for the adventure map in the tutorial videos, so if you wanted to play the map for yourself spoiler free, I suggest that you go into the description below and find out how you can obtain the map for yourself and give it a play before you watch any of the tutorial videos. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into the tutorial. So what I'd like to talk about in today's tutorial video is scrolling platforms, and when I say that, I mean something like what you see on screen right here. The tin plating actuates one block at a time, and it gives the illusion of a scrolling platform. It's something I personally use quite a bit in Harbinger. It makes for a nice aesthetic if you use it with gem spark blocks, or used with actuators, it makes for a really good puzzle design. It's also pretty basic, and I think it's a good place to start the tutorial. So I'm going to go ahead and start by creating a little platform to start building around. That's probably tall enough. We're going to want this, let's go with 12. Yeah, 12 sounds good. Okay, we'll just close this off on the other end. Alright, now we're going to place actuators on the green team block here. We're actually going to go ahead and actuate it, just like that. Now, the first thing that I like to do when it comes to creating scrolling platform puzzles, like this simple one here, is I like to start by making the platform itself, like I did just right here, and then from there I'll just wire it up, and it doesn't have to be up, it can be down, left, right, whatever. Just for this example, I'm gonna build straight up. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna alternate the color for each one of the actuated blocks. And I like to follow a pattern of red, blue, green, yellow just because it helps keeps the wire colors organized for me, which helps with wiring the later segments if I know what order everything's in to begin with. So now that we have the wires hooked up, we're going to go ahead and start by placing some logic gates. We're going to start with an AND gate here, and then 3 apart. And we're going to do 1 for each of the colors below us. So 12 in total. And then we're actually going to need 3 additional. And the reason for these additional 3 is because I want to have a scrolling platform that is 3 blocks wide, and I also want it to disappear off the edge of the screen and reappear at the beginning. So in order for that to happen, we'll need the 3 additional logic gates. So we're going to top these AND gates off with off logic gate lamps like this, except for the first one, which will be on, like that. And then on top of that, we will be placing some faulty logic lamps like this in 2 rows. So now that we have those logic gates in position, we're going to just start by wiring up the lower segment straight to them. So I'm going to start with red here. Actually going to start here. And remember how I said this is going to be 3 blocks wide? So we're actually going to extend that out 3 additional logic lamps. And so what this is going to do is when this one turns off turns on the logic lamp and activating the block below, when it progresses to here, it'll turn it back off. And I'll get more on that later. So I'm just going to continue with the red for now. And then we'll just switch on to the blue wire. It's very important that you don't cross similar wire colors if you don't need to. Because say if I were to put a little bit of a red wire here on accident and connect these two, all of a sudden this block will actuate and this block will actuate at the same time, and that's not what we're after. You can cross different colors like I have here. Gonna have all 4 colors on the same line for each of these, and that is totally acceptable. A signal only travels through similarly colored wires. So I'm going to continue on with the pattern with green this time. And actually, I just realized that I made a minor mistake here. It's no big deal, easy to fix. And what that mistake was is I actually shifted my logic gates one more to the left than I intended. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to remove that extra one there because I moved it to the back. And we still need the front one in the line to be lit up. So we're going to go ahead and turn that logic lamp on. And that's the order that I want. Sorry about that. And we're going to progress onto yellow. And so that's why we have these extra ones at the end that I mentioned. So as these turn on, the blocks below, these will turn them off. And the yellow one will be the last one to turn off. So from here, we're going to actually work on the progression of the logic gates that we have here. So we're going to make it go from this end to that end, and what I mean by that is we're going to have the lamp travel from here to here. So with this yellow wire here, whenever this lamp is activated, it's going to send a signal through this yellow wire, and that will turn off this lamp and turn on this lamp. And if I do that for the next wire, it'll turn this one off and turn it on here, and it'll carry the lamp on position all the way down the chain. And that's exactly what we're hoping to accomplish here. So I'm just going to keep following the pattern that I already established before of the rotation of red, blue, green, yellow, but I'm starting with yellow over here because we don't want to start with red here since we already have a red below it. Now there's one other lamp that needs to be turned off in this rotation, and that's here. And following the color rotation, it's going to be blue. But here's the thing, we want this to loop all the way back to the beginning and turn this position back on once it reaches the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this blue wire and carry it around and just plug it right back into this position. And so what that's going to do, as I'll demonstrate right here, is that is going to carry down the lamp and then repeat itself, and at the same time it'll actually actuate the blocks beneath it like that. And as you can see, my scrolling platform is 3 wide like I wanted, and that could just repeat like that indefinitely. And really, that's the scrolling platform basic design done. But if you want to automate it, it's literally as simple as just throwing a timer down and just turning the timer on. As you can see, it's going to just work its way through automatically. Now I'd like to demonstrate how the basic scrolling platform pattern could be used in a more intricate way. In Harbinger, like you're seeing on screen right now, I had some different designs shaped for a scrolling platform puzzle. It kind of snakes around the room. In that example, you can't really tell which way they're going. That was part of the puzzle. They're hidden with the stone slab checker pattern that you see throughout the room. In the tutorial, we're not going to do that per se. I just want to show you how to build a basic snake-shaped scrolling platform puzzle. Now, when you design these, you have to be pretty careful not to make them too big or too complicated in terms of their shapes. If you have a bunch of really close turns that happen a lot, you'll have a very hard time wiring it. It might even be impossible depending on the turns. But with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. And this one's not going to be nearly as big as it is in Harbinger. It's just going to be a small start, just so I could give an example on what you might do to get the snake pattern going. So we'll go up like this, and then we'll go over here. Then we'll make a turn here, and a turn here. And then we'll go ahead and turn again. And over here. And then we'll just bring it down. And just end it here. And these are already actuated. So we'll go ahead and actually push them into the background like that. Next thing we're going to do is work on wiring it. So we're going to grab our red wire and just bring it straight up like that. And then we'll grab the blue wire and follow the pattern that I like to do. The red, blue, green, yellow. Like this. And then the pattern will repeat itself. Now this one, we're not actually going to be able to bring up this way because it'll cross with the red wire right in here. So we're going to have to bring this one down like this and up here and bring that into the fourth red wire position. And it's very important that you progress these in the right order. So you can see this is 1, 2, 3, that's the fourth red wire. We need this to be the fourth position. Now since we have some red wires crossing right in here, we're actually going to need some junction boxes to separate them like that. And now this wire can send a signal without sending a signal down these red wires. And we'll just go ahead and repeat the pattern. So once we have all of the wires lined up, we need to check our work and make sure we got everything right, don't have any crossed wires or misplaced wires. And the easiest way to do that is to just grab some levers and just plop them down right on top of this. Now every time we actuate or activate one, it should light up a group of 4. Like this, there, there, and there. So we have everything wired correctly. And that's the pattern that the snake platform will follow. So next we'll work on the logic gate progression system. So we'll just bring all 4 colors straight up, because I think we'll need a little bit more space in this. That might be good. Do a little bit more to be safe. We're going to have logic gates for every single one of these, plus 3 extra. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times 4. And these don't need to be so wide apart. I don't want it to be incredibly long. So we're going to make it shorter like this. And then we'll just work on connecting the wire up. So we'll carry the red up here. We'll carry the blue there. The green will go like that. And then yellow over here. And then we just continue on connecting all of these up here. Okay, now that we have these all wired up, we need to make the platform 3 wide, just like we did last time. So what we'll be doing, again, is bringing this red wire and adding 3 logic gates to it, so it shuts off after 3. So we'll just follow that. That'll shut off there. That one's going to go there. Connect that under the yellow, like this. And we'll do the same thing with the blue wire. Okay, now that we have that done, we're going to just create the progression like we did last time on the other side. So again, we want to move this lamp over here and all the way down, and then repeat back to the beginning every single time. We'll be starting with yellow, and we'll be working through the colors, and I'll meet back up with you when I'm done. And now that we have that done, we just bring this green wire across the top of those logic gates and all the way down here. And we will hook a lever up, and we'll give this a test. So our scrolling platform is 3 blocks wide, and it follows the snake pattern exactly how we want. just need to make sure it loops at the end, and it does. And that's how you'll wire up the scrolling snake-shaped platform. So again, just like the previous times, we'll start with red at the bottom here. Just come out a little bit, and just go up to say about there. And then we could do the same thing on this side. And then blue, we'll just stack that up with the red wire on both sides. Same with green. And yellow. Now, for the logic gate segment of this, it's going to be a little bit different than it was last time. We're still going to have a row of 8 logic gates, like this, that match up with the tiles that we have actuated down here. But the difference is we don't really need this to fade away into nothing and back because it's not looping. So we don't need the 3 additional logic gates. But what we do need, however, is an additional row. So we're going to just close this off like this. Make sure they're all off. And then we're actually going to create another row directly above them. 7 and 8. And these ones will be off, except for the very first one, which will be on. And then again, with the faulty lamps directly on top. And the reason why we do 2 faulty lamps like this is because we're going to have different wire colors on every single one of these gates. And if we take, say, yellow like this, and we have a yellow right here, if we had used only 1 row of faulty lamps, that yellow wire, the activation wire, would be down here instead of up here, and we'd have a major crossing issue right there. So by creating that extra row of faulty lamps on top, it gives us the space that we need to work with to keep it nice and clean. No crossed wires. So similar to how we did with the other designs, we're going to be bringing the red wire out. Oops. Let's cut this a little bit lower. Yeah, that's good. So we'll bring the red wire out and we'll connect it to this gate just like we did before, but we also need to make sure it's connected to the gate above it. Just like that. We'll do the same with the red wire here and make sure it's connected to the gate above it. And the reason for this is going to progress this way, which will open the door, and then it'll loop down here and progress this way, which will close it. So we need to make sure all of the wire colors are represented in both layers of the logic gates. So just go ahead and connect the other colors. And again, following the same concept that we used in the previous designs, we'll be progressing this forward. Now here's where things are going to be a little bit different. Instead of looping this all the way back around to the beginning like we would have on the other design, we're just going to bring this down and it's going to turn this one on, which will bring the logic lamp from this first row and push it down to the second row. And we're also going to make sure these ones progress in this direction rather than this direction. So instead of having wire shapes like this, we'll have it the opposite direction. So we're going to go ahead and start with red down here. And when it comes to here, again, just bring it out and loop it back up to the top. So that way, once the lamp progresses down here, it'll turn this space back on. And then all we need to do to test that out is just run some wire out. We'll just bring it out here. And we'll do the same here. And we do have 2 spots that we need junction boxes in because we have some crossed green wires. So we'll do it there and there. And we'll go ahead and plop down a wire. And let's see how this looks. So we have the door open, door shut, and it'll just repeat in that motion. Now, obviously, we don't want to manually do a door. We want it to happen automatically. And my preferred method for this is to actually use spear traps this time around. Spear traps move a little bit differently than dart traps do. They have a shorter cooldown, so you can use spear traps much faster than dart traps, which is handy for doors. And I'll go ahead and demonstrate all of that out. So we'll start by, we'll just leave the lever here. Throw down an extra block here. Just, oop. Bring that down. Bring that across. We'll just throw down a spear trap here. So we'll be placing some teal pressure pads. 2, 3, 4. And we only need 4 teal pressure pads, even though there are 8 logic gates here. Because when the spear trap shoots out, it's going to hit all 4 of these, and then it's going to return and hit all 4 of them again. So it's actually going to hit 8 in this small distance. It's another reason why I like to use the spear traps. And to make sure that it hits 8, there has to be a gap here. If there's not a gap here, say it's like that, it's only going to hit 7. It'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But if it's like this, it's going to be 8. We'll actually put that out to there. And we'll rotate that one. So now we just need to wire up these teal pads with this green wire here. Like that. We can go ahead and cut it out from the lever. And we'll wire the lever up to the spear trap like that. And now, when we activate the spear trap, you'll see the door opens. We activate it again, the door shuts. Now, if we want to have it open automatically, my favorite means to do it is to actually place a logic sensor beneath it. And this will toggle whenever a player walks into it or out of it. So we'll just bring that wire down like that. And now walking near the door will open it up. So if we walk by, it opens for us. Now we also want it to close when we walk out. So what we'll be doing is grabbing a couple more logic lamps. We'll just do 2 like this. We'll have 1 on, 1 off, and we'll make them faulty. We only need 1 row of faulty lamps up here. We don't need 2. And what we'll do is we'll bring this green wire up here and disconnect it from the trap like that. And we'll take 1 wire and make the kind of L shape here, which will progress the lamp over here. But we'll also connect this all the way down here to that spear trap. And then we'll do this same thing over here with the blue wire connecting to the other spear trap. So now what's going to happen here when you activate this logic lamp, the logic sensor, it's going to send a signal here. It's going to push the lamp this way and activate the spear trap, which will open the door. And then when you walk out, it's going to send another signal, which will push the lamp back to its original position, activate this spear trap, which will then shut the door. And we could just show that right now. Open and shut. Simple as that. And that concludes today's tutorial. I hope you found it helpful. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and comment, and if you'd like to see more content from me, subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Happy building!